Hello, class, and welcome to my informative speech. I'm here today to talk about food because I have looked deeper into the statistics on how much this country actually consumes when it comes to food and how much of it actually goes to waste. Now, America has a population of over 305 million people, so there are a lot of mouths to feed. Let me start off with some statistics. The average American consumes 2,700 calories per day. Now, this totals up to be 815 billion calories of food each day for the entire country. Sadly, that's 200 billion calories more than needed, which is enough to feed a population of 80 million people. Also, the average individual's daily consumption of water is 159 gallons, while more than half of the world's population only lives on 25 gallons. Alright, so time for some history. The USDA Food Intake Survey shows that food consumption in America has dramatically changed over the last 50 years, and there are a variety of factors that are responsible for these changes. For instance, we have changes in relative prices, an increase in real disposable income. We also have more food assistance for the poor, new products, especially more convenient ones, along with more imports, growth in the away-from-home food market, restaurants, what I'm referring to, as well as the standards for nutrient enrichment has increased. Now, socio-demographic trends also driving changes in the food choices include that we have smaller households. We also have more two-earner and single-parent households. We also have a taller population. That's right. Our population has become taller over the last 50 years. We also have an aging population and an increased ethnic diversity. Now, over the years, there's been an increase in our consumption pattern, and the USDA Agricultural Factbook did a research which showed that in 1978, 18% of the food that we consumed was takeout, or ordering from restaurants. In 1996, that percentage rate rose to 32%. Also, the amount of sweeteners we use has increased by 39% over the last 50 years. So we are putting more sugar on things, basically. Also, the consumption of meat has increased from 57 pounds per year per person to an astounding 195 pounds per year per person. That's a big increase. Now, also, Americans drink less milk. Milk has been replaced more by sodas, fruit drinks, or flavored teas. Also, Americans eat 4 times as much cheese than they drink milk. The average American now meets or exceeds the recommended grain intake. Unfortunately, the majority of what is consumed is highly refined. On the plus side, however, we are consuming more fruits and vegetables. Over the last 30 years, we've seen an increase of about 20% when it comes to consumption of fruit and vegetables. Now, concluding all these statistics, I have a chart. And from the calories that we intake, 12% of it is from plant foods, which include vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds. 25% is animal food, which includes meat, dairy, eggs, and seafood. And an astounding 63% comes from processed food, which includes added fats and oils, sugars, and refined grains. Now, what is the natural conclusion from this statistic? Well, our consumption patterns have resulted in that more and more of Americans have become overweight. Now, did you know that according to the National Center of Health Statistics, an astounding 62% of adult Americans were overweight by 2000? That's a 16% increase compared to 1980. Where the percentage rate was at 46. Now, 27% of overweight adults are considered obese. Now, what what is referred to as obese is that you're 30 pounds heavier than your healthy weight limit. And of course, not only our food consumptions contribute to these factors, we also have a trend for reduced activity levels, higher stress levels, people sleep less, but the majority is that people eat more than what they can burn off. Now, I've talked about what Americans consume, so now I'm going to touch on how much of what we consume goes to waste, okay? And here's a scary fact, because according to researchers from the University of Arizona, they found that nearly 50% of the total U.S. harvest goes to waste. That's half of our harvest, just gone. And Americans throw out 200,000 tons of edible food daily, okay? And this totals up to be 14% of all food that's brought into a household in a year, okay? So 14% of all food that you bring in a year gets tossed out. By the age of 75, the average American generates about 52 tons of garbage. Now, converting this into dollars, it is estimated that an average $590 a year is thrown away, and that includes meats, fruits, vegetables, and grains. Now, these statistics show that in the last 20 years, we have tripled the amount of what we throw away. So, what are some things that we can do to reduce the amount of food waste, okay? Well, I can give you some tips on this. 1. Buy carefully. Plan your menus and make up a specific grocery list. 2nd, know what's stored in your refrigerator and your pantry, so you know when to use and eat the foods while they're still edible. And 3rd, freeze your leftovers. That way you can eat them later, and you won't have to worry about them. So, in my personal opinion, I feel like the food here in America is all about convenience, okay? In Sweden, for instance, where I come from, there is no such thing as a 24-hour grocery store. Grocery stores over there close at 10 at the latest. Also, we do not have as much preservatives in our food as we have here because, well, of course, we do have a smaller population. We only have 9 million people in our country, but we have no need, so that's why we have no need to buy our items in bulk. A common European trend is that shoppers there buy smaller quantities, but they do visit the grocery store more frequently. This way they waste less, and since their food is not available to them 24/7, the result is that Europe has a healthier and fitter body type compared to the typical American body type. So maybe Americans can learn something from the Europeans. Now, to conclude all this information, I believe that it is very important that we start being more considerate on what type of products of food we buy, what we eat, where we choose to eat, and how much we waste, okay? Considering these factors will help you live a healthier lifestyle because you won't be consuming as much, and by cutting out expenses for unnecessary purchases and waste products will also help your budget. So, I mean, just think about it. You can save money and help yourself in the process. So, you help the environment by reducing the amount of land space needed for wasted products. But I really hope that this this presentation has given you some knowledge, and I thank you so much for listening.